Bask in my radiance, motherfuckers. Oklahoma here. Don't get too close to this T-Mog family. Make you feel like you caught fever. 3 weeks into this season 1 of Dragonflight, and now that we've let the meta shake out a little bit, I think it's fun to take a look at the numbers, see who's on top, who's on bottom, talk about it, and talk about all the factors that are going into that, and then maybe some that aren't being talked about. Here we go. So PvP leaderboard, this is one of my favorites. So I always like to come over here to statistics. I click on spec. I like to sort it by spec, so it really breaks it down. You can pick your region. So we'll go to solo shuffle, and then you can pick either, I'm in US, or you can pick good players. But we'll just scoop them all together for now. Now, what's interesting is here's your top 5,000, right? And across the board, at this level, you have seems like pretty decent representation. I mean, there's fire mages down here, right? Oh my God, we band of brothers. Look at the fire mages. Dude, if you're a fire mage and you're going into solo shuffle, just know I salute you. Good sir, good ma'am. You're made different. Just stay the fuck out of that person's way. They don't give a fuck. You tell me you play fire mage in solo shuffle, I got respect for you right away. That's crazy. What's really interesting is as you move up in skill, in quotes, we'll talk about that here in a bit, but as you move up in skill, some of these classes that have pretty good representation drop off a fucking cliff. Watch. 2,400 plus, boom. The second you hit 2,400, almost 1/3 of the ladder, all these specs in the game, but 1/3 of the representation are just these 2 specs. These 5 specs represent half of the representation above, or excuse me, 6, because we're going to include a healer. These 5 DPS, but the first healer, almost 55% of the ladder, right? In these 5 specs alone. So, and look down here, my fire mages, 4 of them. Oh my God, you badasses. Moonkids, there are some. I haven't seen them. Oh, my chamois. Dude, do you know how much fun range survival would have been in solo queue? But now you guys have this fucking abomination. Ugh. So, and rogues, you need to be playing assassination if you haven't noticed. So, and now let's move up one more. Let's get to the elite of the elite. The best, most skilled players in the world are mostly demon hunters. 25%. Apparently, that's skill. So the most skilled players in the world now are demon hunters, or they're overtuned. I don't know. The demon hunters appear to think that they're not. What breaks my heart about this is that they're just simply going to nerf their damage. And I actually like them being a high damage dealer. The problem with demon hunters is they can't be fucking killed. Their mobility, their range CC, their range, they don't need a ranged interrupt. That's ridiculous. Take one of their stuns, remove their ranged interrupt, and start adjusting their defenses if they're too tanky after that. Just tweak them a little bit. That's all. You don't have to just kill them. But if I know what's going to happen is they're going to leave you super OP this whole season and then drive you into oblivion in season 2. But we'll see. Now, is there a fire mage at the bottom? What do you think? Let's see. No, there's not. There's not any holy pallies, no resto shamans, anything at the highest level. But back down here at the top 5,000, you see that there are some pretty good players. I told you I didn't think Rhett was going to be the worst. Right up here in this video, it always seems to, but it definitely needs some loving. And again, as you start to move up, you can see. Now, this is very important to see because you have to ask yourself a question. Do you like queuing into Demon Hunters, Unholy DKs, Shadow Priest, and Demonology Warlocks? Because that's literally most of what you're going to see at the highest fucking level. You're going to see a DH every fucking game. Okay? Or some combination. So if you're a Holy Pally or you're any of these classes that aren't up here, I don't know. You're going to have to think twice. Do you even want to push into this? Is it fun for you to play against Demon Hunter, Shadow Priest? Because that's what it means. That's what when they say push your rating and get better at the game, they mean push into Demon Hunters, Shadow Priest, and Unholy DKs and locks over and over and over again. So you got to decide, but that's what it's going to be this season if you're looking to push. So it's up to you. But if you want to come up here with the big boys and you're not playing one of these specs, just know you might want to search out one of these singles here and see what they're doing. Because, this person must be a deity at Frost DK. So now what is fun, just something else to show you real quick is, if you go into leaderboards and you go into US Solo Shuffle, you can also do this by spec. So like I play Holy Paladin, no surprise, Born Good's badass at this game, right? So, but what you can do is you can click on old Born Good, come in here, see that he has an awful fucking transmog, but it doesn't matter because he's such a stud at the class, right? And then you can see his layouts. He has 2 loadouts, 3 loadouts here. Now, I don't know which one you want to go with, but you can take his active one and then you can copy it and paste it in there so you can see what the top players are doing. And you can do this for EU too. Let's see if Reese is up here. There he is. There's my boy. If you don't know, this is Reese Boss. He's got a great YouTube channel, but see, and you can view his talent build, right? And then you can copy it. So, and then you can compare them, whatever you want to do. But that's a great way if you're new to the class and you want to see what you want to get the spec that the top players are playing so you can kind of learn it, try it out and learn it. That's a great way to do that. The obvious problem that all this information presents for Blizzard is where do you begin to balance? Because the first comment that you're going to hear from the PvP community is that you should balance around 3v3, 2400 plus because it has the most skilled players. It's the most skill and it represents the actuality of the classes. Okay, so let's just go with that. Okay, but as a concept in regards to skill, okay, people like to mention the hand-eye coordination. They like to mention their titles and all the stuff they've accomplished. But they also leave out some of the other aspects and factors that play into that skill. By definition, skill is simply doing something well, right? You see this a lot in youth sports. When I was 16 years old, I volunteered to referee at this Christian church. They were having a basketball tournament. Worst decision I ever made in my fucking life. By Saturday afternoon at like 1 o'clock, there's parents going to the ground over an elementary basketball tournament at Bumfuck Baptist Church. It was unbelievable. But I'll never forget because the first game, this kid comes walking in. He's the point guard for one of the teams. And you could tell these parents had just snatched this poor kid out of bed, lathered him in about fucking $700 of sports apparel. And he's out here. And so the game starts and he's just moving around. He's trying to dribble. No skill at all. His first 3 shots he takes, missed by a country mile. One of them goes out of bounds, so they all got to go over to the side, whatever, timeout. I forget what it was. They all go over to the side, and here comes his dad. Some 5'6", 280-pound dude comes waddling out of the stands, red-faced, already reaming at this kid. Didn't I tell you? And didn't we work on this? And da-da-da-da-da. And his mom's just up back behind him, just nodding her head left and right like the shame, you know. And this poor kid's got his head to the ground. And I couldn't believe it because I'm looking at these parents. I'm like, dude, there is zero fucking chance your kid's going to play in the NBA, dude. Unless by some miracle he didn't get your genes. If you really want your wife to be in the NBA, you better pray that she slept around because that's the only way he's getting there. Okay? And as mad as I get at those parents, I get it now because they've bought into the bullshit, right? And let's be fair to these parents. It's billion-dollar bullshit. I mean, Nike is a billion-dollar bullshit company because what do? Every time they got a commercial or a billboard, right? It's some sweaty athlete working in the dark and he's working out and he's training and he's just better than you because he's working hard and that's how he got there, right? It's not because like LeBron James was 6'3", 200 pounds in 8th grade, right? It's not because when he was 18, he had the athleticism, body size, and acumen to play at the NBA level. He's a once-in-a-generation talent, and a huge part of that is genetic. Okay, now that doesn't diminish the hard work because you have to have that too. But if you don't have both pieces of that pie, it doesn't matter. You can't have one without the other. It's just bullshit. And the fact that these parents buy into that bullshit is just tragic. Okay, but what genetics are, well, but the reality is, right, Just Do It sells a lot better than just genetics. People don't like to hear that part because we like the fantasy. We like to think that hard work pays off. And it does to a degree, but it's just a complicated concept. Success in sports, right? There's a lot of factors. But the factor that never gets talked about, just like genetics in sports, in PvP and PvP skill, is time. When people tell you they're mad skilled, what they're telling you, if they spend a lot of fucking time playing. And this is a real difficulty for Blizzard. And it breaks my heart because no one ever talks to them about this shit. No one asks them. These guys do fucking interview after interview, and no one ever presents them with these problems. Where are you going moving forward? What do you think about this? I mean, they've got to see it too. It's very difficult. What do they think? What are they going to balance towards? How are they going to do it? Looking at the current PvP ladder like we just did, do you think throwing in tier sets on top of this unbalance is a good fucking idea? I'm skeptical, but maybe you do. Why? Is it going to make it easier to balance? How? But no. All we get is, it's going to be great. Look at the dragon riding, right? And I'm not saying that How to Train Your Dragon Flight isn't fucking awesome, but I'm just saying that this stuff needs to be talked about. If you could see the time played between top players and people in the middle, you might be much more calibrated to being in the middle. Okay, sometimes the time investment isn't worth it to you. And if you're going to make that time investment to push rating, let's just be very clear what that means right now. In solo queue, that means you're basically going to push up into Demon Hunter, Shadow Priest, and Unholy DKs. So if you're already not having a good time with that at the lower levels, then then why would you push up? And you tell people they need to develop more skill, but what you're telling them is that they need to invest more time. Because a lot of the guys that you guys watch and stream every night are playing this shit like it's their job, because it is. But telling people that have other jobs that they need to spend the time to get that level of skill is a statement. Now, maybe you think that's true, and that's fine. Look, there's a lot of ways to see the world. There's a lot of opinions. But if you're telling people to get more skilled, part of what you're saying is get more time. And then just be honest about your play time. How long did that skill take you to develop? For you to go shit on noobs. What should be an appropriate amount of play time for the average person to reach 2,400? I wonder what it is. I'd like to see the play time of the average EU player versus the average North American player. Because part of being skilled and developing skill is investing time. And what you're asking people to do is invest their time so that they can increase ratings, so that they can queue into more Demon Hunters and Shadow Priests right now. And now we have the imbalance of some people have their tier bonuses, some people don't. So this is something that's going to have to be addressed at some point. Hopefully someone will talk to them about it, but it's a very challenging issue. I do not mourn Blizz. I hammer them on balance, and I'm going to continue to bitch about it because I think it's such an issue. And again, there's so many complex factors, some that aren't ever mentioned as the time investment, right? That I think they're really going to have to dedicate like an actual team to balance. Like, I don't think it's something that you can do a pass of. I think you're going to have to sit down, hammer out what exactly in the direction you're going, who you're balancing toward. Is there some sweet middle ground that you can reach? Maybe instead of nerfing damage on some of these classes, because I think Demon Hunter is doing a lot of damage. They should. I think they should. And if you're going to keep them mobile, keep them mobile. I love that. But then if they're going to be glass cannons, then we need some glass. Okay, they can't just have it all. But I don't know that you necessarily need to have to, just start nerfing damage all the time. It's the same thing with DKs. You guys clip unholy DKs, but you clip Frost DKs and the same thing. And look, Frost DKs are having a hard time. So I just wanted to point out that there's this huge time investment factor that no one talks about. And when you see these elite PvPers, just remember that a lot of those guys at that rating are the same person. A lot of those tunes, like there's multiple like Vanguards and these guys that play red or whatever, any of the rank 1 guys, they have multiple rank 1 characters. So a lot of those upper tier performers, sometimes they're even the same person, right? And it's awesome. And it's fun to watch people play things that they're very talented at. I love to watch LeBron James play basketball. I love to watch Patrick Mahomes and my Dallas Cowboys. God, I love my Dallas Cowboys. This is our year, fam. This is our year. Remember, you heard it here. This is our year. But I love to watch talented people do what they're talented at. But that there are sometimes factors to that talent, in quotes, that they were fortunate to have and or that they just don't talk about. So I wanted to show you guys a quick glimpse under the hood of the PvP Season 1 Dragonflight here. I wanted to show you the statistics, talk about some of the statistics that aren't shown. When people tell you that we need to balance this game around the most skilled, they're telling you we should balance this game around the most people with the most time played very consistently. At least the people with the most time played presently in this current iteration. Also, when you look real high up on that ladder and you see people playing your spec rank 1s that do have those thousands of hours, and even they are having a hard time getting it up there. And even if they do, it's only the guy that's the best at it. It really kind of discourages you from wanting to push up there for some people, I think. Furthermore, when I see as a healer that the higher I go, I'm really just going to push into a legion of demon hunters and shadow priests, warlocks and monks and DKs. I gotta tell you, as enticing as it sounds, for me, I think some people will be a little discouraged by that. I don't know that that's going to be a lot of fun just to get a bigger number. I know that that number means a lot to members of this community, but I'm not sure that it means a lot to people as a whole. And I'm not sure that everybody's willing to go through the legion of demon hunters and shadow priests to get that number. Which means your participation goes down, which means solo shuffle mode. Now those queue times are going to go up and it could get real ugly. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do or how they're going to figure this out. We got tier sets now coming out soon, are going to come online. So that could shake it all up. Maybe it's all balanced and we get better balance with tier sets. I'll just be the first to say I'm skeptical, but we'll see. But moving forward, one of the reasons I just want to reiterate this, I'm not trying to bash Blizz. A lot of PvP games have this problem, and this game's been around for a long time, and a lot of this, again, we've talked about these factors that are compounding now, but they're going to have to definitely sit down and have a balanced team. This isn't going to be something that's done with tuning passes. There's a lot of problems, there's a lot of factors, and it's going to take some serious attention to get this really ironed out. Otherwise, we're just going to have more of this. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Oklahoma out.